only 55 days away from the opening statements in the Idaho quadruple murder trial. And if you thought things couldn't look any worse for Bryan Kohberger with, the DNA and the cell phone data and the surveillance video and an eyewitness description of his eyebrows, at least, not to mention the laughable alibi, I like stargazing at 4 o'clock in the morning with my phone turned off. I know, I kind of thought that too, until what I heard today. A smoking gun that both sides somehow managed to keep under wraps for months. There is apparently another eyewitness. It's the DoorDash driver who delivered food to Xana Kernodle less than 10 minutes before Xana and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin and Xana's housemates Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez were all savagely murdered by an intruder. Police have confirmed to us that a woman seen in some of the interrogation footage from an unrelated incident is a 43-year-old woman known only as MM in the court documents. She was arrested that day for a DUI while being questioned at the Pullman, Washington police station. Just happened to reveal to the officers that she had to, quote, testify in a big murder case here because I'm the DoorDash driver, end quote. When the officer asks which murder case, the woman says, quote, the murder case with the college girls. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Bryan there. I parked right next to him, end quote. And I think I need to read that last part again because I did a double take when I first saw it. I saw Bryan there, she says. I parked right next to him. That interrogation video was posted on a YouTube account where it was discovered by web sleuths and journalists. It's unclear, though, whether the woman's outing will affect the start date of the trial itself. The defense has been pushing for a delay for weeks now, but that's over the media leaks, the whole Dateline episode kerfuffle. And that is due to be the subject of a big hearing tomorrow. But the prosecutors want the trial to stay on target for the planned August 11th beginning. Our senior national correspondent, Bryan Entin, is in Boise, Idaho tonight with much more on what all of this means. First of all, I did not see this coming, a second eyewitness.
Yeah, this is a bombshell, Ashleigh. If it is true what this DoorDash driver is saying, then this is a bombshell. I came to Boise thinking that the hearing tomorrow was going to be the big story, but this is big. The Idaho Statesman was the first to break it today. Basically, this DoorDash driver, who we knew existed, by the way. We've known for a long time there was a DoorDash driver, that she goes by MM. She's been referenced in the court documents. We knew that she arrived there to deliver DoorDash at 4 a.m., about 10 minutes or so before the murders. But what we didn't know is what is in this body camera video. And let me explain this a little bit. You did, Ashleigh, but the reason we know about this is because last year, this DoorDash driver, totally unrelated to the Bryan Kohberger case, she got pulled over, suspected of driving under the influence. She had a expired tag, suspected of being under prescription pills, and she got pulled over, and she just started volunteering this information to the police while she was being interviewed, and it's on body cam. And she said that she's the DoorDash driver from the Bryan Kohberger case, that she saw Bryan Kohberger, which is really the headline here, that she's a witness who saw Bryan Kohberger, and all of this just happened to come out through this new body camera video from Pullman, Washington.
So, Bryan, take us back to the house. We're going to have to describe it because the house has been torn down. But if you look at the front of the house, there's a parking lot out front where all the cars were lined up, and they stayed that way till they were all towed. But this DoorDash driver said, I parked next to him, which makes me wonder if she's talking about the parking lot out front, or if she's talking about that side street off to the left where that bushy tree is, that big, tall, bushy tree is just adjacent to the red car there. Because there's a side street that goes up that left-hand side of the house, and isn't it
it's a very
believed that the killer used? Yeah. Walk me through that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There was someone talking in my ear. Yeah, it's a very, very important part of what she said. Not only that she said, I saw Bryan Kohberger, but I wrote this down. She said, I parked right next to him. Now, you think about DoorDash. We all order DoorDash. A DoorDash driver typically would park right in front of the house where they're delivering the food. They pull into the driveway. You see them in the driveway. They get out. They go to the front door. They give the customer the food. Why would the DoorDash driver drive onto the side street of the house, which with the murder house, you've got the front of the house, you've got the driveway like you described it, but then you've got this side road that goes up the side near an apartment building. You can't even walk down to the house like through, you'd have to go through the woods unless you walked all the way around if you went to the side road. We don't know exactly where Bryan Kohberger parked, you know, if he's guilty of all this. They've never said that in any of the documents. We know that he's caught on camera going up there and going up towards the house, but we don't know exactly where he parked. But if she's saying that she parked right next to him, does that mean that he parked right in front of the house, that he just pulled right in the driveway and then went in for about 10 minutes to commit these murders? We don't know, but it's certainly interesting to think about.
That's what I wondered. And then also, just with the pictures we're looking at now, again, I'm always so sad when I see those cars parked out front behind the yellow police tape, because it's sort of the vehicle's frozen in time from the kids who would never come back to use their own vehicles until their parents or their loved ones took those vehicles away. But it certainly doesn't look like there's a whole lot of room, which made me wonder if this DoorDash driver parked out front on the street, knowing, well, I can't go into this little parking lot. I'm just going to have to park out here on the street, which now would make a little more sense. If Bryan Kohberger did this, if he's really the killer, he might be surveilling from a little farther away, not so obvious, and out on the street. But that's the only thing I can think of, because as you said, going up that side road, it's really hard to get access to the house. As a DoorDash driver, you just wouldn't go up that side road to the side of the house.
Yeah, the whole thing up there is tight and confusing. The layout when you drive up there is very, very strange and tight. We would always have a hard time finding a place to park up there. There's a little bit of parking on the street there, but it's difficult. It's hard to get in there. So there's a place where maybe a DoorDash driver could have just pulled off without going fully into the driveway and like put their flashers on and run up with the food. But it's hard to imagine that Bryan Kohberger just parked right in front of the house. I have to say I'm a little skeptical of this whole story. Just the way that it came out through the body camera video, the fact that in all of the police documents that we've been able to see in the probable cause, we knew there was a DoorDash driver, Ashleigh, but if they had a real credible witness who saw Bryan Kohberger at the house, that is huge. How would we not know that by now? It's possible it's just like a bombshell that they're saving for the trial, but don't you think maybe that would have been in the probable cause, or in all these court hearings that we've been to where we get new little nuggets? I would have thought maybe we would have heard about that by now.
I can't believe that it wasn't even a whisper rumor. You're right, especially with all the reporters that descended upon the story, finding every DoorDash driver in town. I know that we try to reach every DoorDash driver in town, but the problem is everybody, does side hustles with DoorDash. So it could have been anybody, and that was the problem with actually trying to find the person who did deliver the food that night. Okay, the question about this person in particular, MM, the woman in particular who's, told the police, I'm the one who's going to have to testify in this case, I'm the DoorDash driver. I can't imagine what it's like to be her, because she had nothing to do with any of this. I'm sure she wants nothing to do with any of this. Like, the stress and the frustration that this would have brought to her life, I'm sure, is unthinkable. But she also may have the credibility issues, especially if there's a DUI in play, or, drinking, and she seemed to say on the body cam, it isn't the first time.
Yeah, and look, I feel terrible for her too, Ash. I mean, the fact that we've confirmed she is the DoorDash driver, and she was there at 4 a.m. just minutes before this brutal slaughter happened. That's a hard thing to deal with, I'm sure, and I feel very, very sorry for this woman. But in terms of credibility, I've seen the body camera video. She's pulled over, she's crying, she's had DUI in the past. They take her back to the station. She's emotional, she's distraught. And she says, I'm the witness, and she's just telling this cop, that I'm the witness from the Bryan Kohberger case. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Bryan. I parked right next to him. I'm just wondering, was she was really the DoorDash driver, but like maybe she thinks that she parked right next to him, but it wasn't actually him. I don't know. I just think about the credibility. And I go back to the point that how is this the first time we're hearing this story? And it's through this means, through a body camera video that's totally unrelated of this woman in a very, very desperate situation after she gets pulled over for DUI.
So what do you think just in terms of this hearing tomorrow? Look, like you said, your focus was all about the Dateline leaks and how the defense is just sort of apoplectic about how this information got out from under the gag. Now there's this, and it's out there. It's not a leak. It's just, people put things together. Is this going to have an effect potentially on tomorrow's hearing and the issue at hand, which is a delay in the upcoming August start?
I don't think so. I suspect this will not come up at the hearing. I do think it's going to be a bombshell hearing. I think it's going to be a really interesting, juicy hearing. I think that the judge is going to have to hear both sides about whether they want to delay, and I think he'll probably make a decision because they've already filed their briefs with their reasoning. But what I'm more interested in is at the last hearing, Ashleigh, you remember, he talked about wanting to bring on a special prosecutor to do an investigation to sniff out who the leaker is within law enforcement and figure out who leaked that information to Dateline. I think we're going to get an update on that. Are they going to bring in a special prosecutor now to have, could there be criminal charges? Have they figured out who this person is? They may have even figured it out by now. I'm very interested in all of that, which is gonna come out at this hearing tomorrow, Ashleigh.
Have you been, and listen, everything in this case has been difficult to learn, but have you heard any rumblings of an investigation already? Like, have they been ferreting out who's spoken with whom? Have they confiscated cell phones and that sort of I hate to even suggest it, but asking people within the investigative circle, hand over your phones or we'll subpoena them and we'll search your history?
Well, we know that they asked everyone involved in the case and everyone in law enforcement involved in the case to save all of the records in their cell phones and emails so that they could go back and try to figure out who this leaker is. In terms of how the investigation has progressed, we don't know. That doesn't surprise me, though. This judge is serious, and he was serious before, and people were nervous to speak out before. I'll tell you, after the last hearing, I don't think we're going to know anything about that investigation. I think people are nervous, which is why I think it's going to be interesting tomorrow to finally find out what's been going on behind the scenes here, and will they in fact delay the trial because of this ongoing investigation into the leaker.
Wow. And then this weirdness that just sort of crops up the day before the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously, don't make plans at this time tomorrow night, Bryan Entin. You're the lead guest once we hear how the hearing goes. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for scrambling early to get that information up for us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ash.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.